Never underestimate Norway again. Never. Because 3 days ago, one pundit anywhere on the planet picked Norway to knock out Brazil at a World Cup. Nobody. And yet, on July 5th, 2026, at MetLife Stadium, that is exactly what happened. Norway are through to their first ever World Cup quarter-final, and the five-time champions are on a plane home. Before this video ends, I'm going to show you the 11 minutes that just made every remaining team in this tournament visit this country got its heart ripped out just trying to reach this stage. This is Erling Haaland's Norway, Ståle Solbakkens Norway, a country that had not touched the World Cup since 1998, that had never once won a knockout match on this stage, that carried a golden generation with zero tournament scars. And 3 days ago, that same team walked into New Jersey and ended Brazil's dream of a sixth star. But to understand how big this actually is, you need to understand the wound first. And this wound has dates attached to it. Norway last played at a World Cup in 1998. Since then, nothing. Not 2002, not 2006, not 2010, not 2014, not 2018, not 2022. 6 straight tournaments watched from home. Martin Odegaard came and went through his entire early 20s without ever kicking a ball at a World Cup. The 2022 cycle should have been the one. Instead, on November 16, 2021, Norway needed a result away to the Netherlands and got demolished by 2 late goals, Steven Bergwijn and Memphis Depay in the final 10 minutes, a 2-0 defeat that handed the Dutch automatic qualification and buried Norway in 3rd place, 3 points short of even reaching the playoff. Then Euro 2024 did it again, slower and crueler. On June 17, 2023, 1 week after Haaland had just won the Champions League treble with Manchester City, Norway led Scotland at home through a Haaland penalty and collapsed to lose 2-1. Solbakken pulled his own exhausted talisman off with 6 minutes left. Norway never recovered from that single night. By October 15th, a 1-0 home defeat to Spain confirmed it. No Euros. Again. That is what this generation carried onto American soil. Not hope, scar tissue. So when Solbakken doubled down after that Euro 2024 disaster, the mandate from the Federation was brutally simple. Stop almost qualifying and start actually qualifying. He delivered it in the most emphatic way possible. Norway won their World Cup qualifying group outright, ahead of Italy, sealing it with a 4-1 win over the Italians in Milan. Across the whole campaign, Norway scored 37 goals and conceded only 5. That is not scraping through. That is dominance. But qualifying is one thing. The World Cup is another animal completely. And it did not start as a fairy tale. Norway beat Iraq 4-1 on June 17th. They beat Senegal 3-2 on June 23rd. Haaland scored in both. Then on June 26th, France beat them 4-1. And for a moment, the old doubts crept straight back in. Second in the group, into the round of 32, staring at Ivory Coast on June 30th. That match should have been the trap that ended everything again. Antonio Nusa opened the scoring in the 39th minute with a curling finish. Ivory Coast leveled it in the 74th through a moment of individual brilliance. And Norway, a team with zero knockout history to fall back on, had to find something from nothing in the final minutes. In the 86th minute, Sander Berge found Haaland unmarked in the box, and Haaland tapped home the winner. First ever Norwegian win in a World Cup knockout match. The door was open. Now stay with me because the next match is the one this entire country will remember forever. Nobody gave Norway a real chance against Brazil. Not against the 5-time champions, not against Ancelotti, not against Vinicius Jr. in the form of his life, the first half, and the sharper chances. In the 14th minute, Matheus Cunha was hauled down in the box, and after a VAR review, Brazil had his own chance in the 41st minute, and Nyland denied him again. Halftime, still 0-0. And Norway simply refused to break. Here is where you need to keep watching because this is the part nobody saw coming. Julian Ryerson was back from injury. Solbakken made 2 changes at halftime, sending on Oscar Bob and Andreas Schjelderup, and both of those substitutions built the goals that ended Brazil's World Cup. In the 79th minute, Sheldrapud whipped in a cross and Erling Haaland 2-1, Brazil's earliest World Cup exit since 1990. Norway into a World Cup quarter-final for their first time in their history. Within the hour, Haaland posted a photo from the locker room with 4 words attached, worth the 28-year wait. Solbakken told reporters it was simply the greatest night in Norwegian football history, and that even though one man scored both goals. This is Ørjan Nyland's Norway, the goalkeeper who turned an entire penalty and 2 more chances into nothing. This is Andreas Sheldrapud's Norway, on the pitch less than 15 minutes before he'd already assisted the winner. This is Antonio Nusa's Norway, terrifying defenders one-on-one every time he touches it. This is Martin Odegaard's Norway, pulling the strings after waiting his whole career for this stage. And this is still, unmistakably, Erling Haaland's Norway, a striker who has now scored in 13 straight internationals and sits level with Messi and Mbappe for the Golden Boot, with 7 goals at his very first World Cup. That is why this Norway feels different from every Norwegian team that came before it. It's not one golden generation carrying false hope. It's a federation that fixed the qualifying problem, a goalkeeper winning knockout matches on his own, and a striker who treats World Cup football like just another Tuesday in the Premier League. Next up is England in Miami on July 11th. Another huge name. Another team that thinks it has the edge. But ask Brazil how that assumption worked out. Ask a team that had 65% of the ball, a golden generation, and 5 World Cups in the trophy cabinet, and still flew home first. So whether it's England next or Argentina or France, nobody left in this tournament should feel comfortable, because this is not a team riding one lucky night anymore. This is a goalkeeper who saves penalties from 5-time champions. This is a bench that produces match-winning substitutions in 15 minutes. This is a striker chasing the Golden Boot at his very first World Cup. And it's a federation that spent 2 years turning heartbreak into a machine built specifically to make bigger, richer nations uncomfortable for 90 straight minutes. So yes, the World Cup has a serious problem. And that problem is wearing red, it plays out of Norway, and its name is Erling Haaland. Drop a comment and tell me who you think stops them next.